This year's event was round 3 of the SA Off-Road Championship presented by Bankfin, ABSA's specialist vehicle and asset finance division. 75 of the 78 crews entered for the Toyota 1000 survived the prologue and were busy with last-minute preparations for the 8 o'clock start and the long dusty haul to the overnight stop in Matswabishi. Service crews were required, as is now the tradition, to relocate and set up camp at the overnight stop, where tens of thousands of local fans converged to witness what has come to be regarded as Botswana's biggest event. Top car racing co-driver Jan Syme would not be making the trip to the overnight stop.
The doctors advised yesterday that I had a slight heart attack, so I shouldn't continue today. And fortunately we've been able to get a standing navigator who can now do the 2 major loops, but I'm quite disappointed.
Thousands of fans converged on the start line opposite the Game City complex.
I seem to have had a bad run in desert races so far. I've never finished one, and it would really be nice to get to the finish for a change. So I hope so. I think there's going to be quite a bit of dust today, and it's also very narrow to get past guys, so it's definitely good to start in front.
We've done a lot of development on these BAT cars, and the Fortin gearbox that we're running seems to be the answer, together with the Fortin rear hubs. I've got a lot of confidence in Brandon Harkis' driving, who's the builder of the car, and I managed to get us a nice starting position this morning. I'll be navigating and Brandon will be driving. Janil's got a 1-minute gap on us, a nice dust gap for us, so hopefully we can just stay behind him and keep Hannes just behind us. That'll be great.
Chris Birkin provided some last-minute route advice for younger charger Mark Ronier.
Actually started here yesterday. A lot of places where you can miss a marker and you can lose a lot of time, and you have to be really sharp. It gets boring at times because there's a lot of sort of long distances between instructions, but it's a challenge.
Well, it's going to be a tough one, different from last year. We've cut out a lot of the long straights and that. The guys are going to find it very interesting, and be interesting to see what sort of times they put up today. We had to shorten this section mainly because we've got the regional motorcycles participating, and to give them time to get back on Sunday. So up to the DSP, it's now 223 kilometers. Against last year it was nearly 270. But we've compensated for that by extending the length of the loop up to about 268 k's. So that's the changes, the major changes. And obviously in the top loop we've taken out those long straights as well.
De Villiers and Jordan had a clear advantage over their rivals. They would have no dust with which to contend, but would have to be careful of stray animals and public vehicles that might venture onto the route. The aerial view of the Kopanang Hotel Medical Rescue and TV helicopter illustrates just how dusty conditions would be for the chasing pack. Harkis and Berthold started over a minute behind De Villiers and Jordan, and they too would have a slight advantage in that the dust thrown up by the Nissan would have settled a little. Grobler and Leek were next away in the proudly South African Nissan hardbody and confident that they could set a new record of 6 consecutive wins. Bevan Berthold and production car racer Richard Rutz could be counted on for a good result if Berthold could temper his exuberance. The Audi V8 powered back certainly had the speed and the handling to boot. Duncan Foster's transition from Class D to Class T has been somewhat troubled. He failed to finish in the Western Cape and rolled during the prologue on the Nissan Sugarbelt 400, but managed to finish second overall. Mulgreach and Shorthammer have won the Toyota 1000 3 times, once in a Nissan, once in a Pajero, and once in a Ford Ranger. Douse and co-driver VZ von Sale won the event last year, and the Mitsubishi twin-turbo V6 powered Nashua Mobile Racing Chenoweth certainly had what it takes to win again. Reinicker and Houghton last won the Toyota 1000 in 1999 and the Barberspan 500 in 2002, and wanted nothing more than to win and break their 9-race winless streak. Botswana hopeful Atang Makgakganene and Mike Stangl had decided to maintain a steady pace throughout the first day and then pile on the pressure on the return loop to Gaborone on Sunday. Makgakganene is no stranger to the road conditions in Botswana. As a youngster, he used to drive cattle from his father's farm to the market and has a good knowledge of driving in thick sand and dense bush. The ever-popular and spectacular Jojo Tanks VW will shortly be retired and make way for a brand new vehicle being built by Jacques Hubert in Groblersdal. Intense concentration on the face of de Villiers. De Villiers and Jordan had already opened a 2-minute gap on the rest of the field, and this after only 50 minutes of racing. Harkus and Berthold were second overall and the leading special vehicle contenders. Former Class B champion Peter Haasbroek and Freddie Skeppers were 13th overall and the Class D leaders in the Castrol Toyota Land Cruiser. Gaborone businessmen Mohammed Noor and Mohammed Moltzen were 14th overall and comfortably led Class S in the Raceco Porsche. Andrew Birkin had moved into 15th place overall and led Class B from Rob Walker of Hagen's Kopanong Hotel Super Team Mighty Mag. Cronje and Birkin started 20th and were carving their way to the front of the field in the Castrol Toyota Hilux. Rob Walk came off second best in this encounter. Cronje is the reigning Rotax Max World Karting Champion, runs a karting business and spends his free time working out in the gym. Class F or two-wheel drive unlimited super trucks was led by Wynand Brits and Roy Clark in the SBM. There was no stopping de Villiers and Jordan in the proudly South African Nissan hardbody as they continue to open the gap on their pursuers. The SA Off-Road Championship comprises a production and special vehicle category with each having an overall winner. Both categories are scored separately and the two championships enjoy equal status. Such has been the dominance of the production vehicles that a special vehicle hasn't won a race overall for many years. Grobler and Leek have a record equaling 5 consecutive wins in the proudly South African Nissan hardbody, a record which was held by Grobler and Piet Swanepoel since 1986. Foss and Griffith were third in the production vehicle category, which gave the proudly South African Nissan hardbody team the 1-2-3 they were looking for early in the race. Dowse and Rutherford in the Nashua Mobile Racing Chenoweth were now second overall in the special vehicle category. The Mitsubishi twin-turbo V6 powered Chenoweth's acceleration was amazing and more than a match for the Nissan V6 and Audi V8 powered Bats at the head of the field. Castrol Toyota pair Reinecker and Houghton trailed the leading Nissan by 7 minutes, but their strategy was to get the Land Cruiser to the overnight stop in one piece and mount their attack on Sunday. Berthold and Roots had dropped down the order after picking up a puncture on the Matrix vehicle tracking Bat and were now third overall. Local Euro, Makgakganene and Stangl in the Total Sam Racing Jimco were content with 9th position overall and 4th overall in the special vehicle category. Jacques Hubert and Jacques Cross were on charge in the Jojo Tanks VW Beetle. Hubert regularly competed in off-road races and rallies in the past and won the PMC rally some years ago. Botswana businessmen Rashid and Faisal Noble has always qualified well and been among the front runners in the powerful ACECO, but has lacked reliability. Another Botswana-based team, Mohammed Noor and Mohammed Moltzen in the Porsche-powered Raceco, have been strong contenders in Class S in the past and were 11th overall and the Class S leaders after an hour of racing. John Weir Smith and Jeff Minnett in the O'Hagan's Kopanong Hotel Super Team Jimco failed to finish the Nissan Leela 400 and the Nissan Sugarbelt 400, which Weir Smith won in 2002, and needed a good result this time out. Punctures and gear selection problems slowed their pace, and they had a lot of time to make up. John Moore and Fred Werner piled on the pressure in the ex-Franz Chepek Konig Shell Chenoweth, which won the Special Vehicle Championship in 2001. The Class D lead belonged to Piet Haasbroek and Freddie Skeppers in the Castrol Toyota Land Cruiser. The pair farmed near the Botswana border, so the road conditions were not as foreign to them as they were to the Class E leaders Mark Cronje and Chris Birkin, who were 13th overall. Cronje couldn't afford to relax for 1 second because Castrol Toyota teammates Kasi Kutsia and Oki Fourie were on the pace and just waiting to pounce. The Atlas Copco Chicago pneumatic Jeep with Scott Abraham at the wheel was down on power and using oil at an alarming rate. A puncture and regular stops to top up the engine oil were delays that he and Richard Carolyn could ill afford. Kutsia Labuskaghni and Johan Gerbo were second in Class D and comfortably ahead of their 3 GBS racing teammates, who all compete in Nissan hardbody single cabs. Labuskaghni last won his class on the 2002 Barbaspan 500. Western Cape-based father and son Bez and Dion Besaidnout are strong contenders in the Class B Adenko Sandmaster and were the class leaders at this stage of the race, while Barbaspan farmers Chris and Jannie Visser were third in Class E in the Toyota Hilux and being chased by 2002 Class B champions Marcus Taylor and Mark de Chalane in the Rollerbach Racing JRE. Camille de Villiers and Francois Jordan were comfortably ahead of the field in the proudly South African Nissan hardbody, and this mistake didn't slow their pace much. There were reports that de Villiers was suffering from motion sickness, just as in the case of the Nissan Sugarbelt 400, which can't have been too pleasant. Special vehicle category leaders Brandon Harkes and Richard Rutz were comfortably ahead of the rest of the Class A field, with the Nissan V6 powered Bat not missing a beat. Haasbroek and Skeppers were 5th overall in the production vehicle category and the Class D leaders in the Castrol Toyota Land Cruiser, which has been totally rebuilt by Christoph Bosch, who co-drove for Haasbroek for many years. Andrew Birkin was 4th overall in the special vehicle category and the Class B leader in the Wingfoot, an amazing performance to say the least. With the service point almost in sight, Class E leaders Cronje and Birkin were 13th overall in the Castrol Toyota Hilux 2.7i and 4 minutes ahead of their nearest challengers. Mohammed Noor and Mohammed Moltzen in the Raceco Porsche were the sole remaining Class S crew in the race. Neil Woolridge and Ken Scholhammer had dropped way down the leaderboard. A puncture and an overheating engine on the Team Ford Racing Ranger were the reasons.
What's the plan? Just check. The temperature is 115 degrees. 115 degrees. The water temperature.
A failed power steering slowed their pace dramatically on the Nissan Sugarbelt 400, and they could ill afford problems of a different kind on the Toyota 1000 Desert Race. Maybe the overheating problem could be sorted out at the service point. The service point at Mansuabishi was a hive of activity, and teams awaited the arrival of their chargers.